Hello, and welcome to this quick demonstration of simple column-to-column mapping in Filegroove. Other demonstrations will show how to use logic for much more powerful and sophisticated mapping, but this one's just going to be very simple column-to-column mapping. So here we have the home page of Acme Life, a fictitious group life insurer, and they receive data feeds from lots of different, presumably super funds or other wealth funds, and we can see in the menu here that we've got AMB Super, Federation First State Super, Numero Uno Super, and each of these have employer schemes within them, and each employer scheme provides data in its own format. So I've got Woolworths here, and we've got BHM here as two sample employer schemes. So first off, we've got to create our mapping, and we do that in the TOM Studio. If you saw the overview video, then you'll know that TOM stands for Translator Object Mapping. So we click that. So we want to create a new mapping. We select a sample file, which is this one here. It's an Excel file. So we go next, and then because we're not doing logic in this particular demo, we've just gone straight to the mappings. So we choose which column goes where. And you can see the target format on the right hand side, where the first column is client ID, second column is first name, last name, and on the left you'll see the columns of the source file. Obviously they don't correlate, which is where the mapping comes in. So we can obviously see from field 1, that's the list of first names. So we click field 1 on the left and first name on the right, and click Map Jones. On the left is the last name, Map. And have a client ID field, which is the third field in the source. It's the first field in the target. So we map. So we can continue doing that till we map all the fields that are required. Go next, and here's a sample run, and you can see that client ID has been populated correctly, client first name, client last name has been populated correctly. Okay, now you might also notice that we have the header row in there. We've got the first row as client ID, first name, last name. So we'll continue, we'll finish this, we'll give it a name, and then we'll rectify that. Okay, so here's our TOM. So we'll go back in, we'll edit that. And I said we weren't going to do powerful logic, we'll do some very simple logic in this demo, just so that we can get rid of that header. So what we do is we click Add, and add some logic, if a condition is true. Now the condition we're going to test for is if the line is in range 1 to 1. In other words, if we're processing the first line, we just want to ignore that line. So we click on this ... box here, so we can make a function call that returns a result. And we've got a drop down of all the library functionality that's available in the system. You see we've got text extractors, text matches, basic calculator, financial calculator, date extraction. The one we want is translator. So this basically gives us access to the translator that is doing the translation. So what we want to call is this function, line number is within range. You can see the description down here, returns true if the line number of the line currently being processed is within the range start to end. And then you can see in here we've got the two parameters, start and end, so the range is actually 1, starts at 1, ends at 1, because we only want to delete, we only want to ignore the first line. So that on its own, if we do a test translation, won't do anything. All we're doing is comparing, but when the condition is true, we're not doing anything yet. So what we actually want to do is suppress that line output. So I'm going to call a function, and the function we want to call is another translator function. which is suppress output record. Now, when we run this, you'll see there's no header record in there because it's found that it's line 1, and so it's suppressed output of the record. By default, Filegroove will output a record for every input record. That's its default operation. So if you want to ignore the line, you just tell it to suppress outputting a particular record. Okay, so this has been a very quick introduction to how we can set up simple mapping in Filegroove. There's lots more videos to come, which will go into much more sophisticated features of the product, including how to link it up with the uploading of your files and how to dictate which particular tom is used to do a particular translation. Alright, thanks for listening. Be sure to check out our other videos.